闇の時代を告げる鐘が遠くなり響く戦うと思うよ今君は死も恐れず瓦礫の街を染めて沈む夕日はくれない愛する星の未来を守るためもう神の刃は人の愛祈りも込めて貫け立ち上がれ気高く前定めを受け出せんしよたとえ傷ついて力尽きても赤く燃え見事に散って星になった命を時を超えその名前を胸に刻もう Just forever
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to part like 16, 17. I think we're at we're on episode 8, but I'm pretty sure we're at the very end of it. We're about ready to go ahead and invade the Sadogashima Hive, test out Unit 00. Of course, that's going to take place on the practical on Christmas Day. I think we're on the 23rd right now, so we're getting to it, and I can't believe we're flying through it. Only 2 chapters left. So, yeah, let's continue on, and hopefully we can get to at least to the invasion part. I'm hoping that the next chapter will be, like, the final part of this chapter will be pretty, I don't know, it's been a lot of a lore dive, a little bit too much info dumping, personally. Of course, there's a huge amount of background, but it's not, I can't say that I hate it, it's just, I'm ready for the action to happen, you know what I mean? So hopefully we can get to that tonight. If I could recollect these borrowed memories as vividly as their original owner, I could immediately tell the difference, but that's theoretically impossible. Well, what makes you say that? Because the casualty conductor arbitrarily integrated them into my conscious, so there'll always be disconnected fragments, lacking any real context. So that's why she couldn't rack her brain to retrieve the necessary equations, for example. I can't say for sure, but chances are that Sakaki, Mitsurugi, and the others have absorbed some memories as well. Shouldn't we be worried about that? No, not in the slightest. Why? First of all, those memories have no correlation to any of their existing ones, so they won't ever even remember them unless you just pop, the circumstance pops up. And in the unlucky event that they did somehow get triggered, the person would probably just shrug it off as deja vu. They have no clue that other worlds exist in parallel to ours, so they can never make the connection that those memories came from their alternate selves. And even if they did know, the lack of contextual information would still leave that memory feeling like nothing more than a vague impression. I see. That is kind of how dreams feel. Like, you could have a dream in which all of your friends were elementary schoolers again, for example, and it would be on par for the course. To the people of this world, memories of a peaceful world without any beta of all would feel nothing more like a daydream. You miss nothing. To recap, there's no way to differentiate these memories from our own. The only way to remedy this is to trigger these memories, somehow correlate them with pre-existing ones, then fill in the blanks yourself. See where I'm going? Do you mind if I talk myself through this? Sure. By interacting with me, the 00 unit absorbed stray memories from the other world Sumika, and whether romantic or not, we could at least be sure that Sumika had strong feelings for me in this world before I died. Since that emotion correlates with how my world Sumika felt about me, none of these memories feel out of place, so she's begun to adopt them as her own. And, while they may have been fragmentary at first, she's slowly been filling the contextual gaps with the images Kasumi projected to her. In other words, we'd already given her plenty of contextual information to work with, so she just had to integrate those into her psyche. It was just the trigger what was needed. So the rabbit worked, right? That's the gist, yeah. And that broiled mackerel dish you gave her was also a huge stride. The lunch? That gave us proof that just as Kasumi has fully adopted Sumika's as her own, the 00 unit has adopted Kasumi's memories. If you can keep this up, she should eventually be able to start retrieving her original memories from this world one by one. So basically we'd be working backwards, drawing out her old memories by establishing correlations with the new ones. If I could help her get back to her old memories, that'd be a huge relief. I know it's irrelevant in the grand scheme of things, but I kind of felt bad about just overriding them. In any event, you've certainly lived up to my expectations thus far. I owe you big time. You know, based on what you told me, it almost sounds like there was more to me getting this job done than just reacting differently. See if you can figure something out. As if I'd ever leave humanity's last shot at survival under your supervision. I figured you wouldn't unless it was something crazy. Well, you know me well. You know, there's no way in hell she'd have entrusted me with something so important with some sort of rationale. I knew there had to be something she wasn't telling me. I'd already predicted the possibility of a casualty exchange via casualty conductor in my theory. So I wrote up instructions on how to best respond to any conceivable scenario and had you deliver them to the other me when I sent you to retrieve the formulas. I remember the old Yuko mentioning that the instructions accounted for the possibility of me running back there to escape this world and not being able to return. It was only after you got back from asking her for the other formulas that I was able to confirm the phenomenon. You couldn't tell immediately? Not at all, but over the course of the next few interactions I slowly became cognizant of the fact and somehow my memory seemed out of place. As I said before, if I hadn't already theorized that this might happen, I would have just assumed that there was a bug in the memory backup system. How did you manage to confirm they weren't yours? Immediately after you came back from retrieving the equations, I ran a diagnostic scan on my neurological database as compared to the previous backups and noticed a distinct uptick in the raw size of my memory data. So you knew that this was happening back then, in which case I probably would have ended up going back to the other world no matter what. Even if Jinguji hasn't died, I hadn't run away, Sensei would have probably made up some excuse about it being necessary to complete the 00 unit and I would have fallen for it. But at least if things had happened that way, the other Marimo then wouldn't have had to die. So ever since then I've been doing the same thing after every interaction I have with you, which is attempting to discern which memories aren't my own. But I've been so busy lately I haven't had the time. That's why I've just been making little slip-ups like the one we just discussed. So basically we can be pretty certain I was the one who brought Sumika's memories back here. I don't mean to sound so critical, but... Why didn't you just tell me all of this when you first gave me the tuning assignment? I mean, I feel like it could have helped me bring the 00 unit closer to completion in a much more efficient manner. Because I couldn't trust you enough after you ran away. I understand that it does feel a little off. What I'm going to say is probably sound conceited, so don't take it the wrong way. Okay, let's hear it. Based on everything you just told me, you couldn't possibly have tuned the 00 unit without me. What makes you think that? Well, even back when Sumika was still a brain, you knew how unstable her psyche was. There's no way you would have selected her as a candidate to convert into the 00 unit unless you were positive you'd been able to stabilize her. Yeah, I recognize that you completed the procedure after I'd already run away, so maybe you could have managed without me. It's entirely possible that you could have just gotten up to a bare bones level of functionality just by giving her a convincing artificial body and then projecting the images from Kasumi. But I don't think you would have gambled on that unless you know for a fact she'd be able to carry out the mission. The only way I could ever see you pursuing that is if you knew ahead of time that I would ever try to run away and then come back. Of course, that's not to say you planned on me running away. I mean, I know you didn't plan for Jingushi's death either. But you're definitely the kind of person who finds a way to take advantage of events no matter how disastrous they are. More importantly, I've seen firsthand how meticulous you are. Anything that could go possibly wrong, you've got a countermeasure for. In retrospect, it's pretty amazing that they managed to blindside her with Alternative 5's enactment. It's possible that you only let me run away because you already had a contingency plan for how to do this without me, but from what I've seen, I doubt it. You told your other self how to send me back here, and lied to ensure Sumika's memories would be sucked into this world. You made up an excuse to explain my absence to the rest of the unit and kept my room just the way I left it. You modified the transfer device so nobody would forget me. You didn't cancel out the work being done on my Shiranui. You had him ship it out. The fact that you made up all these arrangements simply to imply that you were banking on me coming back from the very beginning. Which is why I have a hard time believing that you just happened to let me go, and then just happened to revise your plans. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. You don't gotta confirm or deny it. Why not? Because I don't need to know the answer. I just need to know what I need to know. How commendable. Yeah, he is. But I'll still go ahead and answer your main question. After all, it might help you tune her more efficiently. One thing my theory didn't account for was the effects that the casualty conductor on people would have, that these effects would be influenced by the intensity of feelings. I didn't actually learn that until you came back. It was written in the letter I found in that pocket. So she doesn't learn from the memory she absorbed then. From this fact, we could predict that someone's feelings for you might have a similarly drastic effect on the memory absorption in the process, since it's another phenomenon linked to the casualty conductor. If I'd given you that from the start, then she could have been able to read it from your mind while still highly unstable, prematurely triggered the memories before she had the necessary framework, and then there's no telling how she could have reacted. That's a good point. So I decided not to tell you the dirty details until the memories have been integrated, and as of today, they have been. I've been treating this tuning like a mission and carefully calculating a lot of what I say and do around her. Wouldn't she have seen those thoughts too? You say you were treating this like a mission, but you never stopped having romantic feelings for Sumika. You even admitted as much to me. Because that's the world that he came from, I'm assuming. To be perfectly blunt, the average human being doesn't get romantically attached to a fake smile. Oh, I'm sorry. Facsimile. Even though if there's the spinning image of the other. In fact, to be completely honest, I was prepared for you to despise the 00 unit simply because she resembles Sumika. That's why I was so careful in constructing her. I did everything I could to ensure that you'd feel the same way about the 00 unit as you did for Sumika. So then why did you make the point of emphasizing that she wasn't human? Was that a ploy to appeal to emotion? I'll let you make up your own mind on that one. We still share a common interest, so I don't think the answer is significant. I'll say it again, I really am thankful for your assistance. To be more precise, I'm grateful that you have such intense feelings for Sumika. You understand now, don't you? I can't complete the 00 unit alone. I need your help to make her whole. Counting on you. I know. Okay. Now we're on chapter 9. I'm exhausted. I stayed up all night looking at the data from Kasumi's readings. I didn't even sleep. Let me sleep a little longer. Oh, Kasumi, what are you... Huh? Rude? Sumika? So you'd rather have Cosme wake you up then? No, that's not it at all. What are you doing here? Why are you waking me up?
せっかく起こしに来てあげたのに、かすみちゃんじゃなくて残念だったね。
And I came all the way here to surprise you. Am I not good enough? No, I didn't mean it like that. Okay, now she's even more like Sumika than yesterday. She's indistinguishable now.
おかしいな。
That's weird. Oh, I guess it. Yeah, his answer is much better than mine. Well, what is?
私、毎朝起こしてあげてたよね。
I've been waking you up every day, haven't I?
違うのかな。
Haven't I? Yeah, totally. Why do you ask? Does it not feel like that?
よくわからない。
I'm not really sure.
夢だったのかなっていう感じがして。
I kind of feel like it was just a dream. No, it wasn't a dream. That much I could assure you. I see. So not all the borrowed memories have been fully integrated yet. Cosme's been waking me up every morning, though chances are she only got the idea from reading Sumika's mind while she was still a brain and making those memories her own. Either that, or she just read it from my memories of Sumika doing it in my world. Anyway, I'm guessing Cosme must have projected that image into this Sumika, or Sumika read it herself.
たけるちゃん、今日はどのくらい一緒にいられるかな。
How long can we hang out today? I've got a full day of training ahead, both simulated and field exercises. Training? Oh, shouldn't have said that
そ
one.
っか。じゃあ仕方ないね。夜は会えるかな。
Okay, I guess I'll have to be patient, but we can still see each other tonight, right? Then didn't set her off? Wait, this really is a huge step forward. Another headache?
なんか最近多いんだよね。
Yeah, I've been getting them a lot lately, and I wonder why. These headaches used to lead to a panic attack or throw into a fit of rage aimed at the beta, but she's hardly even phased today.
なんだろう。頭痛いの嫌
Why
だ
does this keep happening to me? I'm so sick of it. I can't believe it. She's not freaking out. This is really incredible. Want to talk to Yuko about it? I could come with you.
優子先生？光月先生じゃダメだよ。
Yuko? She's not gonna do any good. Why not?
保健の先生じゃないと。やっぱりお医者さんかな。
She's not a doctor. Maybe the school nurse could help? Oh, she's getting confused with my memories now. Wait, no? Maybe something from the other Sumika? I think you're getting a little mixed up. Yuko's the closest thing we got to a school nurse
そ
here.
うだっけ？
She is? Yeah, and she's a good one too.
じゃあ光月先生に見てもらうよ。
Yes. Now it does at least. It didn't before. It did an extra and then stopped because she wasn't in unlimited. And then it didn't now, but now it does. So, yes, she's back to her normal self. She's good. Okay, then I'll have her take a look then. Okay, sorry. No, don't apologize. It's not your style. Guess you really can't tell the difference between her and her own memories and the ones she absorbed from the other Sumika and the ones from my timeline. Like Sensei was saying yesterday, she's still trying to piece them together into a cohesive framework. These headaches are just a result of her noticing contradictions and disjointed memories.
訓練についてのブリーフィングを始める前に、
The unending
貴
fight.
様たちに伝えることがある。
But before we start the briefings today, I have some important news to share you.
本日未明、国連軍第11軍司令部より、極東国連全軍に対し、佐渡島配部制圧作戦が発令された。
At dawn today, the UN Pacific 11th had officially announced that all Far East forces that we are planning an operation to take out Sadogashima.
機会あるごとに触れてきたが、本作戦は在日国連軍及び帝国本土防衛軍との大規模共同作戦だ。
Did we call what? This is the large operation scale I've been hinting at. It will be a joint offensive between the UN forces in Japan and the Imperial Mainland Defense Force.
作戦名は高21号作戦。これは佐渡島配部の帝国軍戦略故障。
Which one? We've had many. It's been officially dubbed Operation 21 or 21st. Operation 21. This is a reference to the IJF codename for the Sadogashima, Target
作
21.
戦実施は来る12月25日。すでに国連帝国両軍は日本海沿岸部に集結中だ。
It'll be taking place on December 25th. I don't know. I don't want to go ahead and base a chapter name off of it, but yeah, it definitely hints towards something like that. I wouldn't know some more call that a theory than just something that I really want to see. But yeah, the fact the unending word is kind of a major importance. I'm assuming if it's what we think it's going to be, and hopefully it is. It'll be taking place on the 25th, and the UN and Imperial forces are gathering their navies already.
横浜基地からは我が A01 部隊のみが特殊任務のために参加することになる。
A01 will be the only unit from Yokohama to participate. We have a special mission. So we're going to be the only ones going to Sadogashima for the evaluation. Even if there were other units you felt could be of use, they can't leave the alternative 4 HQ undefended. That's probably one more reason Yuko negotiated with the Empire.
本作戦における我が部隊の任務はオルタネイティブ計画より試験的に投入される新型兵器の支援及び護衛だ。
This special mission is to draw support and defend a new experimental weapon, all created by the alternative program. The first lieutenants didn't even flinch. They knew about this already. So she didn't mention it by name. I'm assuming 00 units not
我が部
declassified.
隊は明朝0400横浜基地を出撃。
Oh yeah.
帝国軍高田基地まで前進し前期起動。
We'll be departing Yokohama base tomorrow morning at 400. We'll then advance overland to the IJF Sakata
帝
base.
国海軍の戦術機母艦大隅に移動後。
Wait, I'm hyped! That means it starts on Christmas Eve. At this point, we'll be boarding an IJ and Asumi class TSF carrier, and then we'll go to Sadogashima by
同
sea.
21号作戦全体の概要は本日の訓練終了後。
I'm hyped, lads.
副司令から直々にご説明
Hopefully today goes by fast. The CO and XO will personally brief you all on the details. What? CO too? Not just Yuko alone? This is definitely a massive operation on the whole, but as far as the alternative program is concerned, we're just taking the opportunity to conduct the 00 unit's practical assessment, right? It's not like Yokohama's base's troops are being mobilized. Why would the base commander need to make an
この任
appearance?
務では我々が正面に立ってドンパチやるわけではない。国連軍と帝国軍が引き詰めた赤絨毯の上をお上品に歩いていくようなものだ。
We're not going to be charging in with the guns blazing. If anything, we'll just be waltzing daintily down a red carpet rolled out by the other forces.
したがってこれまで貴様たちがやってきた訓練で十分対処できる。自信を持って臨めばいい。
The training we've done so far should prepare you for this. Trust your instincts, we'll do fine.
ベータ支配地域での戦闘だ。決して油断するな。
All the same, this is a battle on Beta's home turf. We cannot get cocky.
何か質問は？
Questions?
タイ新型兵器に関しての質問
Can we ask about the experimental
新
weapon?
型兵器の詳細は訓練後のブリーフィングで
You'll be
伝達さ
briefed
れる
later
だろう。
tonight.
では今日の訓練はその任務を想定したものではないという
Then I take today's exercise won't be based on our mission to
もち
defend
ろ
it?
ん任務を想定したものだ。それはここ数日の訓練にも組み込まれていた
No,
も
it
の
most
だ。
certainly will be. In fact, we've been incorporating elements of it into our regiment for the past several days. What, seriously? I guess that makes sense, though. The captain already knew we had a big operation coming up. It wouldn't be surprised if the first lieutenants were also knew about it. I can't imagine they wouldn't have just adjusted the training regimen to prepare for it, especially with newbies.
念のために確認なんですけど背部突入は任務に含まれますか
Just to know what to expect, are we going to actually be doing a hive infiltration? That is a good question. You know, if this whole point of this exercise is just to test Sumika's mind reading, then we're going to have to get real close, right? But we don't need to go inside of a hive.
最悪の場合はそれもあり得るが、今回の任務では想定外だ。安心しろ。
If worse comes to worse, then we might have to. Rest assured that's not part of the current mission description.
柏木どうしてもって言うなら私も付き合うけど
Hey Kashiwagi, if you're really dying to go in, I'll back you up.
いえ遠慮しておきます
Nope, I'm good. So, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. But we're still going to have to get close to the hive no matter what. Otherwise, that vital information will be lost. This could also just be a basic test though. Recon's not really an objective. I should just ask later. Alright, training's over. Nothing but mock battles and teamwork exercises from dawn till night, and right around the big operation, no less. Captain's perfectionism? Man, that's starting to get out of hand. You know, I could usually handle a rigorous schedule. I'm just beat today. I've been spending so much time reviewing Cosme's reading logs and making the Santa Rabbit, I haven't even slept. That can't be good for my health. As a surface pilot, I'm being real irresponsible.
何よそんなとこに下手ってだらしないわね
Who knocked the wind out of you? You're going to be about to kill over. Meanwhile, you stand like you're raring to
例
go.
のブリーフィングにはちゃんとシャワー浴びて
Go shower before the base commander gets here. Oh, on
ど
it.
うした白金天才英士があの程度の連成で音を上げたのか
What's the matter, Shirogane? Don't tell me our resident ace is having trouble keeping up with basic drills. Oh, I'm pathetic, I know. No surprise that the first lieutenants are all used to the captain's hellish training regimen by now. Clearly it's intended to test our mental fortitude.
早瀬中尉にあれだけ振り回されていたんですもの仕方ないわよね
Don't beat yourself up over it, second lieutenant. After all, Lieutenant Hayase gave you quite the run for your money out there. Anyone would be tired. Kazuma, you're such a sweetheart.
早瀬中尉は戦闘に性的快感を感じる一種の変態だ だから訓練は彼女にとって自慰行為のようなものだからな。
Hayase is one of those freaks who gets sexual thrill out of combat. These exercises would be like a masturbation to her. What? Where did that come from?
って白金が言ってます。
That's what Shirogane told everyone. Oh, yeah, right.
ぶっ飛ばすわよ。
Don't shift blame, I'm gonna pummel you.
信じてもらえない。
Can't believe you'd have the audacity to call me a liar. Well, serves you right.
待ちなさいよ。
これお飲みなさい。飲んでおけば明日が楽よ。
Anyways, drink this before bed. It'll make you feel a lot better when you wake up. Oh, thanks, Ah! Oh, God, it's the nasty drink the captain gave me days
ど
ago.
うしたの白金少尉。
Something wrong? It's just, you know, I know the captain drinks this stuff, and if Lieutenant Cosmo's singing praises, maybe it is good.
ああ遠慮しなくていいのよ。
No need to be shy. I mean, I have more in my room. Sounds like you're a health nut, huh?
えそれも兵士の大切なお仕事の一つ
Yeah,
ですもん。
surface pilots have to take responsibility of ourselves, you know? Well, she's right, and the best medicine is always the hardest to swallow, as they say. Maybe I can learn a few things from
なの
her.
にそれがそんなに美味しい飲み物でかなってしま
But
う。
who should have guessed that such a delicious drink could be so good? It feels like cheating.
あら嫌だわ。ミサイさん。
Oh, not again.
先に行ってし
Misai,
まう
don't leave without me.
それじゃあ白金少尉。
Well, Lieutenant, oh, if you excuse me. Alright, I'll see you tomorrow. There must be seriously something wrong with that girl's taste buds.
珍しいこともあるものね。白金がへばるの。
Wow, Shurigan, I don't see you looking exhausted.
本当だ。大丈夫。
No kidding, you alright?
タケルは特殊任務との掛け持ちだからな。
Doctor's been conducting a special mission on the side. Without taxing today's exercise of war, I can't say I'm surprised. I'm fine, it's no biggie, I'm just taking a little breather.
今日の早瀬中尉の機動連携すごかったからね。
Hey, Lieutenant Hayase really ran you guys ragged.
バックアップだったから相当疲れたんじゃない
I bet you must be pretty extra tuckered out, and can't believe you're just trying to pick her back
そうだ
up.
ね。ストームヴァンガードは特に機動力
To be fair, Storm Vanguard's all about mobility. Yeah, those exercises were a nightmare, though. I guess they probably kicked it up a notch to get ready for the invasion.
確かにかなり疲れたな。ブリーフィング前に一休みしたいのでな。
Indeed, I'm exhausted too. So if you'll excuse me, I think I'd like to rest before the briefing begins. Same. Alright, I'll see you guys later then. Yeah, later.
ちょっと本当に力抜けちゃってもうしっかりしてよ。
Come on, don't go dying on us. You're the Storm Vanguard, remember? I know. You're still spunky as ever. I'd expect no less of Lieutenant Hayase's aspiring protege. Good to see there aren't any hard feelings about the last little argument, though.
そうそう。茜のためにも頑張
Yeah,
ってよ。
come on, last thing Akane needs is for you to get hurt. Don't stir the pot again, please don't apply
ちょっと
that.
マルコ何よそれ。
Haruko, what is that supposed to mean?
えだって茜はストームヴァンガードのポジション白金から奪わないと気が済
I
まない
mean,
で
like,
しょ
if he dies, she'll never get the satisfaction of stealing away his position, right? Don't provoke her. You're way too honest. I'd hate to see you. I hate to have been one of your younger brothers.
何言ってんのよ別に
What are you
そんな
talking about? That's not.
無理しない無理しない憧れの早瀬中尉は白金がお気に入りだもんね
Come on, don't try to hide it. We all know you're salty because he's Lieutenant Ayase's new favorite. Oh, what are you laughing about?
ああそういうことね
So that's what's going on. Chizuru, not you
車
too.
で何言ってるんだよ私先に行くわよ早くシャワー浴びたいし
I'm gonna head out. I need a shower. See you at the briefing, Shirogane.
あちょっと待って
Wait a minute. I told you this isn't funny. Dang you, Kashiwagi. I don't think I'm gonna let you get away with this. Revenge will be in order, and I know just how to do it. Hey, you feeling a little thirsty?
ああよくわかったね
How'd you know? Ah, ha ha ha! She took the bait. If you want, you could have this. Cosmo gave it to me, but I'm not thirsty.
いいの悪いね
You sure you don't have to? No, it's all yours.
ありがとうありがたくいただくね
Sweet, I owe you one. You fool, that stuff tastes like rat poison.
いいな。
I want one. I'm fresh out, just not your day today, Makoto. Trust me, dude, you lucked out. You don't want anything to do with
半
this.
分あげるよ鎧
I'll split it with you then, Yoroi.
本当？ハルコさん。
Oh, thank you so much, Haruko.
後でね
See you later, Shirogane. Well, she asked for it. Can't say I didn't warn her. But man, it's surprising he said everyone's still a beat, but we're about to be deployed. Most of us, this will be our first hive-related operation. Only the first and second Lieutenant Cosmo will ever have any prior experience. We're not spearheading an assault, but it doesn't mean this isn't dangerous. Suzumi and Kashiwagi have more experience than the rest of us. Only run-ins with live combat were during the coup, the beta ambush, during the XM3 trials. And we weren't even armed then. That might not even count as experience, really. And the coup incident just gave us fighting experience of other humans. Definitely still took a huge emotional toll on our squad. In that sense, fighting the beta might actually be easier for these guys. You know, I think I get it now. That's exactly what it is. All of my squad mates are born and raised in this world, so risking their lives in the struggle against the beta comes with territory. I've only spent a few years here, and it shows. For these guys, it must have been a huge culture shock to have to go to war with other human beings, whereas in my world, those weren't the kind of wars we had, so it didn't faze me at all. They're less conflicted about fighting the beta, although that doesn't mean that they're not afraid of death, of course. I mean, Sergeant Tanguchi said it's pretty common for bots to wet themselves during their first encounter. So they had to find strength in the knowledge that their sacrifice is going to save countless lives, so they won't be dying in vain. It's just like how they're able to stay positive in the face of adversity. And now, even I'm feeling calm. Sure, I had to go through hell and back to get to this point, but I finally caught up to the point of everyone else in terms of my own mental fortitude. Well, no, I can't say that. I still got a ways to go. I have to destroy whatever it is that made me a casualty conductor and undo the damage I did to the other world by running away. I finally found my purpose here, something only I could do. But like Lieutenant Hayase said, I can't be too focused on the bigger picture. I need something more tangible too, a personal goal I could achieve, and I think I finally found one. I'm going to protect this world's Sumika. I'm going to keep her safe. It might not be the most selfless goal, but I think it's the main thing keeping me sane right now. I don't think there's anything wrong with that either.
諸君も知っての通り、本日未明、国連軍第11軍司令部及び帝国軍参謀本部より高21号作戦が発令された。
As you've all been made self-aware earlier this morning, the UN Pacific 11th HQ in conjunction with the IGF General HQ have announced that Operation 21.
ベータハイ高21号目標制圧を目的とする国連と帝国の大規模合同作戦だ。
This is a joint operation between the UN and Imperial forces, with the main objective being to subjugate Target 21, aka the Beta Hive in Sadogashima.
作戦は気象条件に関係なく決行される。
This operation will be carried out regardless of atmospheric conditions, no matter what.
ゼロワン部隊の任務に先立ち、まず本作戦の概略を説明する。
Before we discuss the Unit A01's role in this mission, I'll give an overview to the operation.
本作戦の第一目的は高21号目標の無力化。第2に敵施設の占領及び可能な限りの敵情報収集である。
The primary objective will be to neutralize Target 21. The secondary objective is to control as many enemies' facilities and gather intel.
高21号目標は朝鮮半島の高20号目標と並び、ベータの日本侵攻における
Target 21, just like Target 20 in the Korean Peninsula, serves as a forward operating base from the enemy in which they could easily invade us.
西日本全域を干渉地帯に持つ九州戦線に対し、高21号目標は日本の柔らかい横腹に突き立てられた剣である。
Target 21 has been a long thorn in our side. It threatens the Kyushu front, which allows the use of Western Japan as a buffer
この
zone.
脅威を取り除くことにより、樺太日本、台湾、フィリピンからなる極東防衛ラインの戦略的安定を
Removing this threat would make the Far East defense line, spanning from Sakhalin to Japan all the way down from Taiwan to the Philippines, more strategically
では
secure.
次に作戦の概要を説明する。
Now then, allow me to explain the logistics.
背部攻略のセオリーに従い、作戦の第一段階では国連宇宙総軍の装甲駆逐艦隊による
In accordance with the standard Hive operation procedure, the first phase will be an orbital bombardment by the UN Space Force.
衛星軌道から佐渡島に極超音速で降り注ぐ
They will drop anti-laser munitions from orbit onto Sadogashima.
敵の迎撃と同時に佐渡島周辺に展開した帝国連合艦隊第2戦隊が艦砲及びロケットによる
When the enemy fires back,
攻撃を開始
the IJN Combined Fleet's 2nd Squadron surrounding Sadogashima will commence a long-range saturation bombing via both rockets and ballistics.
この第一波攻撃も機動爆撃同様
Like the orbital
レーザー
bombardment,
弾によるものだ
the first wave will be using anti-laser rounds.
敵の二次迎撃による重金属雲の発生を合図に全艦多目的運搬砲弾による砲撃に切り替え以降徹底的な面制圧を行う
Once the enemy launches the second counterattack, the entire airspace will be covered in heavy metal clouds and all ships will switch to multi-purpose shells. So orbital bombs are just a decoy since I know the heavy and standard laser class are going to snipe them. And then that's when we'll launch the naval saturation bombing. Whichever shells they intercept first, some of these anti-laser rounds will get close enough to create a massive heavy metal cloud, protecting the next wave of shelling. That's a solid strategy. Although I can't say it's the most eco-friendly plan. They won't use G-bombs because of the environment, but is heavy metal clouds really okay? It's like how nukes are bad, but the depleted uranium rounds our TSFs use are a-okay. Can't say I understand the logic, but I grew up in a peaceful world, so what do I
この
know?
段階で艦隊の砲弾消耗は7割。これは極東国連軍と帝国軍の砲弾備蓄総量の 50% だ。
At this time, the ships will have exhausted 70% of munitions, 50% of the Far East's and IJS combined reserves.
だが地表に展開していたベータはレーザー種に限らずそのほとんどを撃破できているはずだ。
However, this will allow us to take out not only the laser class, but a vast majority of other beta as well. We're using that much ammo on a single forward base? I guess they just overwhelm us with sheer numbers otherwise. But if it takes this much firepower to get rid of one minor hive, I can't imagine how much we could ever just get back of Asia. I can understand why people just want to G-bomb the entire continent and leave the
こ
planet.
こで作戦は第2段階へ移行する。シナノ、ミノ、カガの戦艦3隻を旗艦とした帝国連合艦隊第2戦隊がマノ湾へ突入。
At this point, the operation will transition into Phase 2. The IJN combines Fleet 2nd Squadron 1 to Mano Bay, headed by the Shinano, the Mino, and the Kaga.
艦砲射撃をもって旧八幡から旧高野、旧ボガ浦一帯を面
They will
制。
continue to bombard the area from Old Yahata all the way to Old Takano and Bagora.
同時に帝国海軍第17戦術機構戦隊が雪の高浜へ強襲上陸し、共闘砲を確保。
At the same time, the Imperial Navy's 17th Tactical Armored Squadron will conduct an amphibious assault on the Yukino Takahama and secure the beachhead. We're just going to charge straight into the enemy?
続いて帝国軍機構4個師団および戦術機構10個連隊からなるウイスキー部隊を順次揚陸。
At this juncture, a group comprised of 4 IJF armored divisions and 10 tactical armored regiments, call sign Whiskey, will make the landfall.
前線を維持しつつウイスキー主力部隊は旧沢根へ推進。
Whiskey unit will hold the line while moving its main force west towards Old Sawane. This will draw the attention of reinforcements emerging from the hive. The Empire is pouring nearly half of all of its resources into this operation. The shells, the ships, the tanks, the TSFs. This is insane. How do you even unload a unit that huge? Are they just going to have to shuttle them down from Niigata? No, Sadogashima is close enough that the TSFs could fly there from the mainlands themselves. But that's only going to be possible if we gain air superiority, and the initial landing units would definitely need to bring a supply of propellant for that. In any case, it looks like we might just have enough manpower to counter their reinforcements after all.
ベータ軍の増援をマノ湾に引きつけた後、作戦は第3段階へ移行。
After the beta reinforcements have been lured to Mono Bay, operation will enter for Phase
ロー
3.
ツ湾沖に展開したアイオワ、ニュージャージー、ミズーリ、イリノイ、ケンタッキーの5隻を旗艦とする国連太平洋艦隊と
Our naval forces deployed in Ryutsu Bay comprised the UN Pacific Fleet, the Iowa, New Jersey, Missouri, Illinois, and
大
Kentucky,
和武蔵の2隻を中心とする帝国連合艦隊第3戦隊が制圧砲撃を開始。
as well as the IJN's combined Fleet 3rd Squadron, headed by the Yamato and the Musashi, will commence artillery
同
support.
時に帝国海軍第4戦術機構戦隊が旧大野を確保。続いて国連軍機構3個連隊および戦術機構5個連隊からなる
At the same time, the IJN's 4th Tactical Armored Squadron will secure Old Ono. At this point, a UN group comprised of 3 armored regiments and 5 tactical TSF regiments, call sign Echo, will make
詳
landfall.
細は後になるが諸君はこのエコー隊の上陸に呼応して任務を開始することになる。
We can get to the details later, but your mission commences as soon as Echo
先
lands.
行部隊が戦線を構築。エコー主力部隊は北上旧早吉から多田良峰跡を経由して旧鷲ヶ崎を目指す。
The preceding units will establish a battle line. The main force of the Echo unit will head north through Mount Tadaramine from Old Hayoshi to Old
ここまでの行動が成功した場
Washigasaki.
合、高21号目標からの敵増援は大きく2つに分断されているはずで
If all of our diversions up until this point are successful, the enemy reinforcement from Target 21 should be split, splitting
つま
it
り
into.
両津市から高21号目標が存在する金北山跡まで敵はほとんど存在
Which
し
means
ない
there will
こと
be
になる。
virtually no enemies between Ryutsu City and the crater of Mount Kinpoku, where Target 21 is
この戦況の
located.
現実を待ち作戦は第4段階へと移行する。
Once we've established that is the case, the operation will enter Phase 4.
爆撃を終え軌道上周回中の国連宇宙総軍艦隊より投下される
All artillery
第
support
6
will
機動
cease,
降下兵団が
and the 6th
再突
Orbital
入を
Drop
開始。
Corps will release from or orbit the UN orbital bomber
佐渡
fleet.
島へ到着した後高21号目標内部へ突入第2目的の達成を目指す。
Upon landing on Setogashima, they'll prepare to infiltrate Target 21 and attempt to fill the secondary objective, to take control of the hive or gather as much information as
突入部隊の
possible.
第4層への到達を確認した後ウイスキー隊が順次突入。
While the infiltration units have reached the 4th stratum, Whiskey unit will allow them to follow inside and further subjugate enemy facilities. I wonder if there are prisoners in the Sadogashima Hive, people captured by the beta. Oh, that would be terrifying. So having the UN forces head first is probably because they're hoping to find others like her. If they did, they could make a 2nd or 3rd 00 unit. With all those raid beta materials, too? I'm guessing they just rather capture the hive and not destroy it. My suspicions are correct, and this operation was planned by some die-hard Alternative 4 supporters. In which case, this might be a golden opportunity to keep Alternative 5 at bay. At this point, Echo Unit will provide backup for the infiltration teams. It will also prepare to combat the beta swarms that we anticipate will resurface from the ocean floor. Once we reach this phase of the operation, it will finally be time for your unit to mobilize. This is what will happen regardless of whether our infiltration units have been wiped out. Captain, take it from here. As mentioned this morning, our unit in Operation 21 isn't to engage the direct combat with Beta. Our mission is to support and protect a new experimental weapon. Yep, still not calling it the 00 unit. Though to say, it does feel kind of weird that they would refer to her as a weapon. While I remember from our lectures on military history that stuff like cipher decryption devices were often categorized as secret weapons, this probably isn't too much of a stretch. If you only take one thing away from everything, make it this. No matter what happens during this operation, our top priority is to get that weapon in and out of there in one piece. We will be following behind the Echo unit, but we won't be required to join in their diversion. In fact, we are prohibited from participating in any battles that are unrelated to the mission. In other words, even if we see our allies begging for help, we have to leave them to die. Since Sadogashima is controlled by the enemy, we expect frequent resistance, though. If you have no choice but to engage, just be sure to go ahead and replenish your ammo reserves. Just like in our training exercises, ammo and equipment resupplies will be done via munitions all scattered around the battlefield. You should have no trouble finding them, just follow the beacon. That's how we replenish our supplies in all large-scale operations. Newbies get used to it. However, it's extremely common for soldiers to get so focused on resupplying quickly that they let their guard down, leaving them vulnerable. Right, kind of like how you often get killed trying to go after extra lives in a video game. Always resupply in elemental pairs, with whoever has hero reserves going first. With that out of the way, I'll now explain our mission as it pertains to the overall operation. Our unit will make landfall along the Echo unit before heading due south towards Old Kamenibo. The new weapon will be dispatched from Yokohama base when the operation is in Phase 2. It'll then begin its advance towards Target 21 from the southeast into Sadogashima near Old Toyuka. Wait, they're gonna send Sumika's TSF from the base all by itself? Why? Until the weapon arrives, we are to secure a path for its advancement and maintain control of the area. Once the orbiter divers have landed, we'll need to be on the lookout to make sure we don't take damage from the re-entry shells. Right, I'm sure we've been over those in the lectures. Drop units use heat-resistance armored capsules that split into and fall away from the impact. These halves then crash into the Earth's surface, opening up holes in the stab that allow infiltration. Not just from the shells themselves, be sure to brace yourselves for the resultant shockwaves.
我が隊の任務に変わる。
Now then, this is when our true mission will begin, though the particulars may vary depending on whether or not the hive infiltrations are
突入部
successful.
隊が制圧に成功した場合、我々も新型兵器とともに背部に侵入し、情報収集に当たる。
Should the infiltration unit succeed, we'll enter the hive with the weapon and assist in
逆
gathering
に失
intel.
敗した場合、新型兵器の攻撃により、背部とその戦力を無力化することになる。
And in the event that they fail, we'll instead use the weapon to neutralize the hive. Neutralize as in, like, destroy the hive? You're telling me Sumika has enough firepower to blow up a whole hive? You're kidding me.
その後、ウィスキー隊が突入し、残存するベータを掃討。続いて我々も背部の情報収集任務に当たる。
If that happens, then Whiskey Unit will infiltrate the stab and clear out any remaining beta, after which point we will assist in gathering
作
intel.
戦終了後は48時間以内に横浜基地に帰還する。
Once... Bhumika. Once the operation is complete, we will return to Yokohama base within 48
今の内
hours.
容と作戦の各段階における撤退の手順については、強化装備にデータを落としておくので、
Everything we've just gone over, in addition to the number of detailed contingency plans, will be downloaded to your fortified suits. Review the specifics before we head out.
風間、鎧、貴様たちはラッシュガード装備で出撃だ。いいな。
Kazama Yoroi, you're rush guard. Got it?
はいはい
Yeah, they're not going to be needing those missile launchers since we're not planning to
で
infiltrate.
は、これより副司令から我々が護衛する新型兵器についてご説明いただく。副司令、お願いします。
And with that, I'll head everything over to the EXO, who's going to tell you everything you need to know about the new weapon.
はいはいやっと出番
Alright, now it's my turn. I'm really hoping she'll explain what the captain meant about neutralizing the hive. Doesn't that imply the new weapon isn't the U00 unit herself so much as the TSF? Either way, there's no way a single TSF could destroy the hive, right? I mean, last time I heard it sounded like they were almost considering disarming her entirely. I know they made her a special TSF, but I was picturing like a multi-seater or something.
聞いていて分かったと思うけど、高21号作戦が99年の明星作戦に次ぐ
As you've probably guessed, Operation 21 will be the largest counteroffensive in humanity's history since Operation Lucifer in 1999.
国連にしろ帝国にしろそれぞれに目的があってこの作戦を実施するわけだけど、そのどれもが副次的なものに過ぎないわ。
The UN and the Empire have their own set of vested interests in the operation, but none of them are the main reason we're conducting it.
はっきり言うけど、高21号作戦が新兵器のテスト
Oh, sorry. To make it perfectly clear, Operation 21 was designed to serve as a test for this new weapon. I expect you all to keep that in
帝
mind.
国軍も極東国連軍もすべて新兵器の護衛だと言っても過言じゃない。向こうもそれを承知しているわ。
It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that all of these Imperial and Far East UN units forces are only there to help ensure its safety, and they're fully aware of that.
逆に言えば、それだけ私たちの新兵器が期待されているってこと。そこにはあんたたちの働きも含まれている。いいわね。
That gives you a general idea of what's at stake. They expect this weapon to deliver, and whether it can do so will depend on entirely on your performance. Understood?
じゃあ始めるわ。あんたたちが守るのは人類を滅亡の危機から救う
And now, let us begin. Let me introduce humanity's trump card, the secret weapon that's going to bring our species back from the brink of extinction.
XG70B 佐野2型よ。
The XG70B, Susanna Mark II. What the hell? It's no TSF. Look how huge it is. This is what Sumika's piloting?
XG70B はアメリカ軍のハイマーフ計画が生み出した戦略航空機動要塞の試作2番機よ。
The XG70B is a tactical aeronautic fortress that the second prototype model developed as part of the U.S.'s military high mark
この5
program.
機計画のスタートは1974年。ちなみにコードネームが和風なのはこっちで勝手につけてから。
The top secret project began in 1975, and if you're wondering why the codename is Japanese, it's because I feel like calling it that. What, the XG70? I feel like I remember hearing about this. Some deal with the Americans.
戦略航空機動要塞は単独で敵支配地域の最新鋭の進行。
This is a weird perspective.
短期間で背後を破壊するという夢
A tactical aeronautic fortress is a nigh-invincible weapon which can single-handedly infiltrate a hive, make its way to the
搭載
deepest
されたムアコックレシテ型高重力機関が
sections of the hive and destroy the core in
デ
no
ータのレ
time.
ーザー兵器を無力化し
Its onboard Moorcock Lecta anti-gravity drive produces a gravitational field which neutralizes beta
重
lasers.
力制御の際に生じる莫大な余剰電力を利用した可電粒子砲による攻撃
Yeah,
で
the song
背後を
is-
沈没
Could you imagine? Jom Kun 2. It can destroy an entire hive by harnessing the massive amount of surplus energy generated by the gravity control panels into its large charged particle cannon. A charged particle cannon, gravity control? This world's had this investigation for 20
まあ
years?
そんな欲張りな要求しよう
Investigation?
こんなデカ
Technology. What am I saying?
結局完成せず87年にお蔵入り
As you can imagine, packing all this kind of power into a single weapon is quite the tall order, which the concept was shelved in '87 after a scope creep.
理由は簡単。高重量機関開発のスピンオフ技術でもっとお手軽で量産も簡単な兵器が開発されてい
The
る。
reason was simple. They decided to use the technology developed for the anti-gravity drive to develop a much simpler weapon,
その兵器っていうのが G 弾。
the G-bomb.
私たちとしては G 弾を派手に使われるのは迷惑だからね。オルタネイティブ計画権限でモスボール処置されている。
Nope, sorry. Of course, we'd rather not have them dropping those bombs left and right, so we use the authority vested in us to rescue this bad boy from the garbage bin. Now I remember, I thought I recognized the name XG-70. That's what Chief Yoroi and Yuko were talking about before the coup. This must be what she meant when she said the Americans were finally starting to play ball after she completed the 00 unit.
今回が初めての実戦テストだから不測の事態に備えて
This will be the first ever test run, which is why we're taking such extensive precautionary measures just in case something goes wrong.
簡単に失うわけに
This is one piece of technology we can't lose.
だけどこのテストの結果次第では次回以降の配備攻略作戦今回の100分の1以下の戦
Depending on how this goes, we may be able to launch future Hive operations with only 100th of the manpower. That's an understatement. If this works as well as the Americans drafted, the Susanoo Mark II could take out an entire Hive by itself. If the simulators are any indication, then the passageways within the Hive are huge, so I doubt this thing could fit inside.
そうなるがベータ対戦が始まって以来言われている人類の勝利っていうことで
If we could do that, mankind's victory won't be a pipe dream, it'll be within reach. She's right, I mean, just look how much manpower we've already been using on a hive in a dinky little island. Although this strategy might work on other coastal hives, if we had enough strategic resources, it's not applicable to assaulting a landlocked target. But if the Susanoo Mark II is that all it's cracked out to be, then Yuko's right, it could change the tide of war.
じゃあ佐野2型を護衛するにあたっての注意点を言っておく
Okay, let me touch up on some things you need to be careful of.
まず第一に佐野2型の機体走行面から10メートル
First and most important, maintain a safe distance of 10 meters.
佐野2型の姿勢制御と軌道は高重量機関によって形成されるラザフォードフィールドと呼ばれる重力
The Susanoo base stabilizes and propels itself via the Rutherford field, a gravitational field generated by its
これ
anti-gravity
に干渉
drive.
すると急激な重力変調に巻き込まれるわよコクピットでミンチになりたくなかったら距離には注意して
Get too close and you'll be sucked into its event horizon and subjected to violent tidal forces. You want your intestines splattered all over the cockpit? Go for it. But I guess that means that also the beta can't touch it either.
制御システムがまだ完全じゃないことが原因だからおいおい解消される問題だけど今回の調整が間に合わなかった
This is only a problem because the control system isn't fully completed yet. It'll be taken care of eventually, but we couldn't finish making the necessary
念
adjustments.
のためラザフォードフィールドが形成されている時にはあんたたちの機体側で危険を回避するように設定してあるけど
Just be careful. We programmed your TSF to automatically evade the Rutherford field if you get within a certain radius, but you should be very careful regardless.
じゃあ次家電粒子砲が発射態勢に入ったらスサノー2型より後方に退避する
Great, great. Next up, the Susanoo will be preparing to charge its particle cannon. Get behind
簡
it.
単に説明すると家電粒子砲は一種の運動エネ
For
ル
the
ギ
sake of
ー兵器
expediency, let's say that this charged particle cannon is a kinetic energy weapon. It's not a laser?
イオン化した微細粒子を電気的磁気的に加速と収束を繰り返して打ち出すことで標的を熱と衝撃で破壊する仕組みなの
It fires a barrage of ionized microparticles that have been electromagnetically accelerated and focused into a high-temperature, high-impact beam.
では何が危険か
As for why you need to get behind it,
射出されたイオン流が車線上の空気と衝突することで可視光線を含む大量の電磁波が巻き
when
散
the
ら
ion beam collides with the atmospheric particles in its line of fire, it scatters electromagnetic waves in all directions, producing a blinding flash of light.
電荷を持ったイオンが高速移動することで車線周囲の一定範囲に強力な磁界
Secondly, when you fire charged ions at such a high velocity, they create a powerful magnetic field around the
つまり
trajectory.
車線軸に隣接する一定の範囲がとんでもない出力の電子レンジ
So if you're standing within a certain radius, it feels like you've just been shoved into the world's most powerful
今の
microwave.
戦術機程度の電磁波遮蔽処置では人間も電子機器も診察でしょうね
But the level of electromagnetic shielding modern TSFs have, you and all your hardware would get cooked.
スサノー2型は家電粒子の最終収束と車線方向を方向部に備えられた重力場形成装
The
置
ultimate breadth and trajectory of the beam is determined by the gravitational field generations located in the Susanoo's
だ
muzzles.
から機体より後ろにいれば安全ただし真後ろはダ
So
メ
long as you're behind it, you'll be safe. Just keep
家
your
電粒子
distance.
砲は光学兵器じゃないから発射の際に反動が発生するそれを打ち消すためにかなり大きいラザフォードフィールドが
Since the charged particle
機体の
cannon
真
isn't a
後ろに
laser-based weapon, it's a kickback when it fires. To counteract this, another large Rutherford field will be deployed.
以上の注意点を踏まえて 護衛任務について
With those basic safety measures out of the way, let's jump right into the fundies.
まず1点目、家電粒子砲発射体制に入って以降、機体底面および後方以外のラザ砲で
First off, when the charged particle cannon is prepared to fire, all Rutherford fields other than those below and behind the Susanoo will be
2点
disabled.
目、家電粒子砲発射後、再発射までの約4分間、機体底面以外のラザフォードフィールドが消滅。
Second, after the cannon fires, all Rutherford fields other than the one directly below it will be disabled for 4 minutes until it's ready to fire again. 4 minutes? That's longer than the heavy laser class.
つまり砲撃を続ける限り、底面と発射時の後方以外にラザフォードフィールドは形成されないってことね。
Which means that as long as it fires, there will be no Rutherford fields to protect the actually 70 other than the one below it, and the temporary one to prevent
装甲
recoil.
隊は10レーザー級の単照射は2分弱、レーザー級なら7分は耐えられる設計だけど、複数以上の同時照射では当てにならない。
Granted, its armor can withstand a laser blast from a single heavy laser class for 2 minutes, a standard laser class for 7, but if it's hit by multiple lasers,
それに機体に直接取り付かれることも致命的。
or if the enemy gets their hands on the Susanoo, it's done. It has no close-range weapon. So the Rutherford field makes it invulnerable, but since it's not on at all times, we have to help
と
protect
に
it.
かくこのタイミングにベータを寄せ付けないようにしてちょうだい。それがあんたたちの最も重要。
Basically, the beta can't touch it while it's recharging, most important part of the mission.
あとはそうね、大丈夫だとは言っても手記に負担がかかるから、なるべくレーザー照射させない。
While I did say it's able to withstand individual lasers, each hit takes a toll on the main engine. Try to keep the laser classes at bay if possible.
まあ作戦が順調にいけばそんな事態にはならないけど、とりあえず以上。
Though if everything goes to plan, you'll have nothing to worry about. That's all for me, though. It's definitely got a few weak points, but the Susanoo is clearly in a league of its own piece of weaponry. Hard to believe Sumika's going to pilot it. At any rate, I'm pretty sure it's still the 00 unit they're trying to evaluate here, even if it's the official purpose is the operation to test the Susanoo. But man, I could see her piloting a TSF, but this behemoth? I'm a little
オルタ
worried.
ネイティブ4の成否はこの作戦の結果が大きく影響する。
This operation will have a massive impact on the future of Alternative 4. Don't let us down.
すでに本作戦は発動している。諸軍は明朝の出撃に備え万全な準備を整えたまえ。
The plan's already in motion, so expect to be deployed in the morning. Do all you can to prepare yourselves, that's all.
私は帝国海軍の作戦機関従順最上から指揮を取るから。じゃあ佐渡島で会いましょう。
Oh yeah, and I'll be commanding you guys from the Imperial and Japanese Navy's flagship, the heavy cruiser Mogami. See you guys in Sadogashima. Sensei? On the front lines? She's just required to be there for 00 unit's practical assessment, right? Is that just how confident she
ス
is?
サノー2型の作戦コードは A02 とする。高21号作戦と我々の任務に関す
The
る
Susanoo's code name for this operation will be AO2. That concludes the briefing.
明朝の固執は丸二丸々とする。夕食後は身辺整理をしてさっさと寝るんだ。いいな。
We'll assemble tomorrow morning at 200. Eat your dinner, put your affairs in order, and get to bed. Put affairs in order? That's a pretty pessimistic way to go into this thing, though. I guess it's no different from when they had us write our
そうだ
wills.
遺品を受け取った者が悲しむようなものは処分するか分けておけ。
Yep, be sure to get rid of anything that might upset your loved ones when they receive your belongings. Things that might upset them? What?
いいから整理だけはしておけ。無事に帰ってくれば済むことだ。
Just do it. If you come back alive, put everything back. Okay.
例えばだ。お前が早瀬注意のシャワー室を隠し撮り
Like,
していたとする。
get rid of those photos you took of Hayase in the shower. Who would do a thing like that? What is her problem?
なんかああもきっぱり言われると結構腹が立つ。
You know, now I'm just offended you're disgusted by the notion. Nope, stop joking around.
年上は好みじゃないのか？じゃあ、綾峰あたりか。
What, you don't like older women? Is Ayamine in your strike
それ
zone?
はあんたの好みでしょ。
Now you're just projecting.
お
Oh god, not you
い
two.
かがわしい写真とかピンネップ。とにかく受け取った遺族ががっかりするようなものは分けておきなさいってことよ。
Maya's pogging. Look, she's just telling you to set aside any lewd pics, pinups, whatever else you wouldn't want your family to see. Oh, that's what she meant. I got nothing to worry
な
about
んだ、
that.
隠さなくてもいいぞ。そういう年頃なんだし。
Hey, you don't need to lie. I mean, you're at that age. I just said I don't have any. What about you? You probably got a ton of stuff you set
なぜそれ
aside.
を？ああ、なるほど。お前は私を隠し
How'd you know? Oh, so you were spying on me all along? You know, I'm tired of being the voyeur
そう
here.
か。そこまで言うなら仕方がないな。整備が終わったら私の部屋に来い。
You know, if you want it that bad, I suppose I could acquiesce. Once you're done sorting your affairs, you can come to my room. What?
隠し撮りではなく直接見たいんだろ？
You're tired of being a voyeur, right? You want a piece of the action? What are you saying to me?
白金少尉 あなたは注意の冗談に反応しすぎるから。
You know the only reason she teases you, Shirogane, is because you know she'll get a reaction out of you.
もう少しうまく流すことができればからかわら
If you ease up on her, she'll stop. I'll do my best, Lieutenant. Thank you.
なんだ、トウコが良かったのか。それならそうと早く。
Oh, so Toko's more your type? Yep, duly noted.
ほらほら、じゃれ合うのは夕食の後にしろ。
Enough chit chat. You'll have time to screw up after dinner. My apologies.
では各自、速やかにハンガーに向かい、機体のチェックを済ませるんだ。
Alright, everyone, head to the hangar, double check everything in your TSFs. Be more thorough than usual this time.
以上、
That's all.
解散。
Dismissed. Susanna Mark II. Can't believe the Alternative 4 had such a massive secret weapon up its sleeve. And as far as I can tell, Sumika's going to be piloting it. I thought the 00 unit was supposed to be reading the beta's minds, though. Was it actually designed to pilot that colossal death machine? I'm gonna have to be seeing Yuko again. She might be too busy to beat me, but I've got to ask questions. Second Lieutenant Shirogane. Tsukiyomi? It's been a while. I didn't realize she came back. I haven't seen her since she left with the Shogun back to the capital. But to be fair, I wasn't in this world for much longer. I wanted to thank you for doing the coup. I should be thanking you. I'm truly grateful for that you were able to protect Her Highness and Maya. No, it was nothing. Also, allow me to allow my belated congratulations on commissioning. Oh, thank you. Now I don't recognize her the instant I heard her voice. It's because I'm not used to addressing her that way. Up until now, she's always calling me my full name. I must also offer my condolences for what happened to Jiguji. Thank you. Our skills as both an instructor and a surface pilot were unparalleled, though we only fought together in one incident. I feel as though I too lost a dear friend. I can see why, even when Tsukiyomi and Walken were at odds with each other, Jigushi made an effort to explain where the Empire was coming from while staying true to being a UN soldier. Executive Officer Kazuki informed me that you left on another mission after the debacle. I did. Yuko told her? Well, she probably didn't spill the fact I was in another world. She'd take that to the grave. What if Tsukiyomi found out something about my mission some other way? Maya was worried to death about you, but you're no worse for wear. I'm alright, yeah. She talked to Maya too? Oh god, maybe she should have chewed me out. First Lieutenant. Am I in trouble again? Don't look so perturbed. Is there something... I have not come here to rebuke you today. Is there something I should know? No, it's just that you don't typically come talk to me unless you got something to scold me about. I was merely hoping for a bit of your time, though I'm aware you must be hard-pressed for it with your deployment so soon in hand. No worries, I could spare time. This feels weird, and not just because of the way she's addressing me, either. I don't feel the same tension in her demeanor. It's like she's loosened up a bit. Then let us move elsewhere. This isn't the ideal place for conversation. Everyone's still in doing checks on TSS, so they'll listen in. And since I got no clue about what she's going to tell me, I'm more than happy to find a place with privacy. Okay, follow me. Yep, this should be good. No one's going to eavesdrop here. What's up? I've come to ask you a personal favor. I thought something was off, so that's why, but for someone who's always so strictly business, it must be something pretty serious for her to ask me for something personal. Like? About the XM3? Take care of Maya. What? It's a foolish thing to ask because you're a commissioned soldier with your own set of responsibilities. I'd given my past behavior towards you. It's also ludicrously presumptuous. But, First Lieutenant, I know it's brazen, but you're the only one I can turn to. I recognize you have your own duties to fulfill, and I do not expect you to make this your first priority, but... The banger's on. All I could ask of you is that if you ever catch Mei recklessly courting death on the battlefield, dissuade her. Like when she offered to be the Shogun's body double? Tsukiyomi was in support of the idea, not that she had much of a choice. It was either her or the Shogun, who she's sworn to protect. But by offering and escorting her to the locations with Captain Sagiri, I was able to dissuade her. I have no doubt that Maya would listen to anything you tell her. Shogun said something similar, actually. She knew that Maya would accept my gift as it came from me. So I beg of you. What? She's bowing to me? Hey, no, this isn't necessary. I mean it. Even if you hadn't asked, I would never let Maya do something reckless. Raise your head.
醜態を晒したな。許せ。
I may have disgraced myself then. Forgive me. Seriously though, what's this about? It's not like you at
そう
all.
か。
Is that so? Did something happen?
特に何があったというわけ
Nothing
で
in
はない。
particular.
この絵の軍人である私にとって、貴様は依然、最も警戒
As
す
a
べ
member of
き
the
人
royal
物
guard,
だ
I still have a responsibility to keep a close and wary eye upon you, of course. She knows I'm about to be dead and it only makes sense for her to be suspicious.
私個人としては、
But from a personal
貴様の人間性
standpoint,
は信じて
I'm here to trust you.
いや、信じたいと思っている。
Or perhaps I would
と
say
言っ
that
た
I'd
方が
like
正直だな。
to trust you. She wants to trust me? First Lieutenant,
なんだ
what caused your change of heart?
なぜ
My
そうだな。
reasons are simple.
先の事件以来、殿下が貴様に全幅の信頼をお寄せになった。
Ever since the coup, Your Highness has expressed a great deal of trust in you. A huge part of it, of course. Wow, Her Highness spoke so highly of me that she caused even Tsukiyomi to have a change of heart? I don't feel remotely worthy of her praise.
私にとっては、サギリ隊に包囲された際の貴様の言動、あれがきっかけになったのだ。
However, what truly convinced me was how you conducted yourself when we were surrounded by Sagiri's men.
貴様が何者であろうが、本質的な人間性は信じることができ
No
ない。
matter who you might be, your actions all that time suggest that your nature is fundamentally trustworthy. But I could have been a secret agent putting on an act to earn Her Highness's trust. You would have assumed that, right?
確かにそうだな。
Yeah, it was what I would have assumed. Did she just laugh?
だが、貴様がどこぞの工作員だとすると、桁外れな無能
If
であ
that
ろ
was the
う。
case, then you'd be the worst saboteur known to
名
man.
夜様を生かすべき最大の機会を見送り、手にした殿下の信頼も全く利
You
用
let
し
your
ない
best
のだ
opportunity to take
な。
advantage of Maya's slip, and you've done nothing to betray Her Highness's
あるい
trust.
は最高に優秀であるがゆえに、未だ
Or
無能を
perhaps you were so
演じて
talented
い
you
るの
continue to
か。
feign incompetence.
いずれにせよ、ここに来て貴様が名夜様にあだなすとは考
In
え
any
難
event,
い。
it's difficult to imagine you doing any harm to Maya at all. How can you be so
今も
sure?
言ったであろう。名夜様を最大限に利用する機会は
Didn't I just
か
tell
の事
you?
件だった
That incident was your single greatest chance to use Maya to your
だ
advantage.
が貴様はうまく利用するどころかリスクを負ってまで名
However,
夜
even
様
knowing
に
that,
手
you
助け
put
を
your
し
own life at risk to assist
た。あ
her.
の事件以降、名夜様の政治的利用価値は喪失している。任官した事実を見ても、そ
After
れは
that
明らか
incident, Maya lost all worth as a government pawn. Her commissioning is proof. So Lieutenant Tsukiyomi did know the truth about Unit A01. That explains why she was so displeased about Maya
も
being
はや貴
stationed.
様が名夜様に手をかけるとすれば、個人的な殺意しかありえない。
At this point, the only reason you could have to lay a hand on Maya would be if you bear some sort of personal enmity against her.
しかしそれとて、これまでにも十分機会があったにもかかわらず、貴様は実行に及んでいない。
And if that were the case, you should have already done that by now, given the ample opportunities you've had. So you're convinced Maya is safe with me
貴
then.
様にいかなる裏があれど、それは名夜様云々とは別の目的を達成するためなのであろう。
Whatever hidden motives you might have, they have clearly nothing to do with Maya.
そうでなければ、これまでのこと
Your
の
actions
説
don't
明
make
がつか
sense
ない。
otherwise. Clearly, you're not 100% convinced, so if you felt the need to make this a personal request, I take it you're here to look for additional reassurance then. She was watching me like a hawk point Taka Mikazuchi during the last operation. I'm guessing she's trying to convince herself that she won't need to do that
確かに
anymore.
それもある。だが、ことここに及んでは、
That is a part of it, but
もう貴様を信
it's
頼
more that I
す
have
るしか
simply
な
no
い。
choice but to have trust in you from now on.
名
Meaning
夜
what?
様が承認し、オルタネイティブ計画直属の特殊任務部隊に属した以上、いかにこの絵といえど、常におそばに控えるわけ
As a
にはい
result
か
of
ない
May's promotion to the Alternative Program Special Task Force, I'm no longer allowed to serve at her side, even as a member of the Royal Guard. Why not? Isn't that what you've been telling me doing this whole time? And tell me your unit's going to be more involved in the
貴様た
operation?
ちはもはや訓練部隊ではない。
You're no longer mere
私た
cadets.
ちが随伴する名目は
We
な
have
い。
no pretense for accompanying you now. I mean, Japan is alternative force host country. Isn't that why they stationed you here to begin with?
貴様のその言動が演技でないことを
I can only
祈
pray
る
you're
ば
not
かり
putting
だ。
on an act. What?
貴様が計りごとを秘め、まさにこの機会を伺っていたのであれば、私の乾杯だからな。
After all, were you an enemy agent, you may have well been waiting for an opportunity like this, and I would be powerless to stop you.
本当の理由を言おう。
Let me tell you the actual reason. What?
私の部隊は、名夜様をお守りする任を解かれた。
My mission to service Maya's guard has been cancelled.
125事件の結果、殿下と帝国議会、そして軍の関係は、 本来あるべき姿へと是正
After
さ
the
れた。
coup, relations between Her Highness the Imperial died and the IJF were restored. What, really?
仙台臨時政府は決起鎮圧の8日後、12月14日に解散を決議し、即日新内閣が組閣された。
On December 14th, 8 days after the Sendai professional government announced that the rebellion had been suppressed, they decided to dispose of the current cabinet. All this happened while I was in the other world? And I guess that the IJF officially dubbed it the I-12-5 incident? News to me.
正直に言えば、この結果には私も驚いている。これも決起した。
To be honest, this was a shock. It appeared that the rebels' persistence paid off, which is what Sagri wanted, but why would they give her different bodyguards, though? No one knows Maya better than...
これは私が解任されたという話ではないのだ。今後、メイヤ様に警護は一切つかない。
This is not a matter of being replaced. From now on, Mayas will not be assigned any personal guards. How could they just abandon her like that? You can't be serious. Why the hell would they do that? Maya's a relative of the Shogun. Why are you looking at me like that? What?
貴様、本当に知ら
Are
ないの
you
か？
unaware? What?
殿下がどのようなお立場なのか、本当に知らないのか？
Have you never the slightest inkling of the true nature of her position? Uh-oh, I only have a vague understanding of politics in my world. She's a Grand Shogun. She's like the most powerful person in Japan, right? Right? Honestly, I never cared about politics, which is the main reason I never asked.
建前としては間違っていない。
Yeah, in the public eye. Public eye.
本当に何も分かっていないようだな。
It appears you're oblivious to the truth,
や
though.
はり貴様はこの国の人間で
My
はない
suspicion's
のだ。
correct. You're not from this country. Of all times to slip up, I didn't think this stuff about May and Her Highness was going to come up again. I didn't bother learning any more because I didn't think it would change anything between May and I. Lieutenant, I...
今さらそれが分かったところでどうしようもない。
Prying into these matters now will hardly accomplish anything.
本当に有能なのか無能なのか。
I truly cannot tell whether you are ingenious or merely incompetent.
それでもメイヤ様のことを貴様に委ねたくなるのはなぜなのだろうな。
But I still feel compelled to entrust her to you, which is why... She trusts me that much? She said it was just because the Shogun believes in me, but it sounds like it's more about how much I mean to Maya. And yet, I can't just tell her the truth about where I'm from. It would make her even more suspicious. I can't tell you anything, I'm sorry.
分かっている。貴様も軍人であり、極秘計画に
Not much is to be expected of a soldier tasked with top secret missions.
で
Sorry.
は、将軍職について教えてやろう。日本人であれば、誰でも知ってい
Then
る
allow me
こ
to
とだ
explain how the Shogunate operates.
貴様が何者であれ、知っておいて損は
Regardless of your true identity, it wouldn't hurt to know.
征夷大将軍とは、帝国議会の上位執政機関である元数府の長であり、皇帝陛下に任命される国事全権総代の
The Grand Shogun is the head of the Regency Council, which is the highest administrative agency within the Imperial Diet. The council is given authority over all matters by the state of the Emperor. The Regency Council?
古い言葉で言えば、摂政だ。
They're like
皇
advisors.
帝陛下の執政にお
The
力添え
council
する
was
ため
created to assist His
摂政
Majesty
職を
with the
機関化
Empire's
した組織が
administration.
原その機能はアメリカでいうところの大統領府のようなもの。
Likening it to the executive branch perhaps would be easier to understand. Okay. Yikes! She thinks I'm a foreigner. I mean, I guess I am, but whatever.
ただ大統領とは違い、征夷大将軍は
Unlike the president, the Grand Shogun's not elected, though.
元数府を構成する五石家の当主衆からお一方が皇帝陛下
Rather, the Emperor would appoint the current patriarch or matriarch of one of the 5 regent houses. What are the 5 houses? She thinks I'm a foreigner, so might as well keep asking.
1867年、欧米列強の脅威に抗するために倒幕派大名と将軍家が大同団結し、大政奉還が成立した。
In 1867, in an attempt to strengthen Japan against the threat of Western colonialism, the shogunate and reformist Daimyo settled their differences and were united to restore imperial rule, right? Yeah, totally. Oh, great modern history. I didn't even take history as my sophomore elective back in my world. How would I
そ
know?
の際、元数府を設置した公務員、斑鳩、西園寺、九条、高司の五大武家を
But yeah, she's right. I mean, the late 1800s was a time of just like houses just forking each other pretty much. Every single country in the world was split up by houses, and about in the late 1860s, every single one of the houses kind of just unified and created the countries that we know today. I would interest all of you guys that don't know too much about history, go search up a map from 1850, and I promise you it'll blow your mind. Italy was split up into like 7 or 8 countries. Germany was split up into also like 10 different countries. Half of the U.S. was pretty much just split off of different states of what American Indians had owned, including the Mormons also had their own, like Utah as a state was its own proctorate. I would really recommend searching it up. And all of Africa was involved in pretty much just tribal warfare, so there's just tribes everywhere. It's a trip. If you ever have the time to go ahead and do it. Japan was no different. It was just pretty much rival families. So our timeline's the same thing. In the late 1800s, exactly, that's what I'm saying. In the late 1800s, they went and unified because they were worried about the British going ahead and colonizing them. And so they unified under the, imperialist Japan with the, you guys know the red rising sun flag. And then the imperial will thing started, in which they wanted to go ahead and take over like Korea, parts of the Philippines, stuff like that. But yeah, interesting stuff. Our timeline's not too much different. So the Regency Council was established in the 5 warrior families of the Kyobin, Ikaragu, Saionji, Kujo, and Takatsukasa became known as the 5 regent houses. I don't know about that. That's lost on me. I never learned about these little discrepancies from our world's history, though Sensei probably would have pointed them out. But why would I do that? I don't have an interest in politics or history. I mean, it never put me at a disadvantage in the previous timeline, but it might just be because this is a UN military base. Don't say it about Tsukuyomi. She's based. At first, the shogun was only given the authority over all national affairs, but after our defeat in the war, the subsequent measures placed upon us by the Allied forces made the position a little more of a figurehead. Guess she's talking about post-war occupation of Japan by America, and after all that, they even broke off the security treaty. No wonder there's so much contempt for America here. So the shogun had all the power, but then the Americans came along and stripped it? Correct, though Her Highness does have authority over all national affairs, the power of the shogun has been restricted ever since the empire became a constitutional monarchy. Well, that's interesting. I'm gonna do you guys a favor right now, actually. Hold on, give me a quick second. This, what is this here? Map of the world in 1850. No, this is all wrong. I'm trying to find a good map that I can go ahead and show you guys. I unironically might have to go ahead and use one from frickin' Hearts of Iron. Because this is a whole bunch of alternate history stuff. They have one of just Europe, so I can give you guys an idea. Okay, this will give you an idea. Okay, if you see all of those little dots, every single one of those is a different country. Nice. It's not actually going and letting me freaking post the image. Wonderful. Maybe I can go ahead and just get it as a link. Open image in new tab. There you go. So every single one of those is legit a different country, all ruled by different families. You could see that in Italy as well, and also Veneto at the time was owned by the Austrian Empire, the Habsburgs. And let me show you a map of Asia in the 1850s. Still Japanese Empire, not what I'm trying to show you guys. Here you go, perfect, this is what I was looking for. Oh, this is from the 1500s. Never mind. Let me see if they have something from 1899. 19th century Japan. Regardless, yeah, just take my word for it. Warring houses. I can only find the Europe one, but trust me, that this happened. For God's sake, I think the Hearts of Iron mods will be able to show it. But anyways, yeah, so they were all just kind of warring families at the time, and then they just consolidated to be the empire. So anyways, after the beta established on Earth, martial law was declared, which led the government to go ahead and follow in its wake. But as a result of the 12-5 incident, all of the shogun's rightful authority has been reinstated. So basically, the military and their allies and the government had commandeered the shogun's power, using the war as an excuse to further extend their authority. But wait a second. If the shogun has all that power again, excuse me, if the shogun has all that power again, then it makes even less sense to take away Mei's bodyguards, right? Her Highness didn't make that decision, the shogun did. But she could just veto that. As I said before, the empire is just a constitutional monarchy now. Neither the shogun nor the emperor himself are allowed the emperor the freedom to do as they please. Then why does everyone seem to think they can? Because the system is designed to give off that impression. It's far more convenient to the statesman if the people believe Her Highness has the power. It helps to manipulate the populace. She's right. You could use the same argument with governors and the president. If you have a pretty terrible governor and they blame everything on the president, that's an easy way to go ahead and just play, simple tactics. In particular, certain hardliners within the military found it necessary to present her in this way. It facilitated their ability to act independently. Then, not only was she merely a figurehead, but they could also use her as a scapegoat. I think I finally understand why Captain Sagri rebelled then, and yet... But if they allowed her to give Maya bodyguards, why can't she do the same thing now that she has more authority? That's a separate issue. Previously, the shogun had made a special exemption for Maya due to her value as a political hostage. So in other words, the government's interests happen to coincide with Her Highness's wishes, and now they're just abandoning her? So the reason they're removing you guys is because Mei is no longer valuable? That's a factor, yeah. But this was done out of respect for the Highness. It makes zero sense. While it may have been just a single instance, Mei did reveal herself as a shogun's body double. She's now a liability. What? If you give it thought, you could probably deduce why Mei is forsaken. If nothing else, the US military is not aware of Mei's existence. Oh yeah, the Americans went back to retrieve the remains of the fallen soldiers. Assuming the hard drives were intact, they would have audio evidence. As a result, the shogunate fears that the CIA will uncover the real origins of her and use that information to devise another scheme. The shogunate can't be trying to get Maya. Well, that's exactly what they're doing, trying to get her killed. During the rebellion, we could easily explain why a royal guardian would be able to travel alongside a team of cadets, given that we'd have good cause. However, for this upcoming operation, we have no such pretense. Moreover, you are now members of the Alternative Program's top secret task force. Military regulations don't allow us to participate. In other words, now that Mei has been disowned by the House of the Shogun, there's no reason to protect her. Right. So that's why I didn't see Tsukiyomi around. So then the whole reason Maya got promoted was because the shogunate hoped she would get killed? Maya knew this would happen as soon as she got commissioned. I'm sure she knew it from the moment she volunteered to take the shogun's place. Of course, she never just throw her life away for no reason, given she wanted a meaningful death. To give her life in battle fighting in the name of her highness and her countrymen is what she'd want. So now, more than ever, she's going to be actively looking for ways to put herself in danger. Chance to sacrifice yourself for the sake of the mission, it's just how she is. So that's why you came to me. You got so worried about her that you defied the will of the shogun and bowed your head, right? That must be why you know the real reason they're not guarding her anymore. Now you know you never slip. This is wrong. She cares more about the shogun and her country than anyone. She risked her life as a body double. This is all I could say. This isn't fair. It's cruel. It's too cruel. And I'm sure they both know about this, don't they? They're both aware. How could they accept this pointless cruelty? She's really alone now. All that she has left is the doll her highness gave her. So that's why she was so insistent. Not that I think you would, but don't worry. I'll pretend I don't know anything. I won't tell Maya that you came out to see me. At the very least, she won't hear from me. There's no way I could tell her about that. I don't have the right to. There's no solution that'll please everyone, and sometimes that means you've got to bite the bullet. I know that what Her Highness has made this decision, and I know that's why Maya accepted it. It's not my place to reopen old wounds. I'm certain that Maya is extremely thankful, and you'll still treat her the same as you always have. I'm grateful for her to the same thing. Even after I nearly threw myself on her, Maya welcomed me back. Not that she's just forgave me either. She was willing to sacrifice her body, even when she had all this emotional baggage floating around in her head. She's nothing like me. She's never been the type to let her emotions control her, give in to despair. She's been prepared for this long since she stood in the Shogun. Since the day she was born, she knew it would happen. That's why she could accept this so easily. I leave Maya in your capable hands, then. Tsukiyomi's always cared so deeply for Maya, both in this timeline and in mine. It seems so effortless just to let her call about letting Maya take the Shogun's place. But right now, it's obvious she can't bear the thought of her leaving on her own. She feels the same way about Maya as Maya felt about the old woman in Mount Tengen. Huh? I think I understand now. Maya was projecting her feelings onto the old woman. She's been jerked around by the government her entire life, but she couldn't bear to force the fate upon anyone else. She was willing to break military regulations for that. She let her emotions take precedence over her duty, just like Lieutenant Tsukiyomi's doing now. She's just as human as the rest of us. I have faith in her. And while I can't say with confidence that I understand how she feels or what she's going through. I do think this might finally be a chance for her to start living life on her own terms. She'll lose a lot of her special privileges, but she'll never ask for those in the first place. I think she prefers to be treated as a normal person rather than just one of the Shogun's family. And now that she's been freed from the shackles of her lineage, maybe she'll finally start to feel comfortable with just being Mitsurugi Maya. I'm sure she still has every intention of laying her life on the line to help in the fight in the name of her highness and people, but I really don't think she'd ever do something rash as to just get herself killed. Of course, I can't promise she won't go berserk and try something crazy, but I sincerely doubt it. What I can promise, though, is that if it ever comes to that, I'll knock her around until she snaps out of it. After all, I don't have to worry about you murdering me for it anymore. Well, I wouldn't be so sure. Okay, fine, I'll just give her a little slap on the cheek then. Then I'll let you off with a roundhouse kick. Well, that seems to get the thanks for saving her. Doesn't seem too fair.
割に合う役
I'm
目な
sorry
ら
to
存
inform you
在
that
しな
this
いか
world
ら
isn't
な
exactly fair. You could say that again. I can't believe I'm sharing a laugh with this world's version of Tsukiyomi. Never thought I'd see the day. Perhaps this means she's finally starting to accept me. That would make me happy. So where are you going from here?
高21号作戦ではウィスキー部隊
I'm
に追加する
participating in part of the whiskey unit. I see. There's probably another relative of the Shogun among the troops then too. Perhaps the old adage about the nobility being the first to spill their blood on the front lines is finally starting to be enforced now that the government's restored. Whiskey's job is to just charge right in and create a diversion. It's already a pretty slim chance of survival. And Tsukiyomi's flight has to defend some aristocrat? So that's why she had to ask. And what about after
生
that?
還できたなら年内まではこの基地にとどまるその後はいずこへ
If we survive, we remain on this base for the remainder of the year. After that, there's no telling where we go. So I'll see you after the operation then.
だとよいが貴様が開発したという
I certainly
新
hope
型
so. I mean, it depends on that OS of yours, First Lieutenant. Well, may the winds of fortune be at your back.
オルタネイティブ4の成否に人類の存亡がかかっているこたびの作戦において貴様の部隊の使命
Alternative 4 success will determine the fate of all mankind. Your unit's mission in this operation is of
こ
critical
れまでの
importance.
話と矛盾するがメイヤ様のことはあくまで余力の
Not to
範囲
downplay my
で
original request, but your duties must obviously come above all else.
最優先してほしい
Even the safety of Maya. I know.
時間を取らせてすまなかった
Forgive me for taking up your time. It's fine.
ブーンを
May the winds of fortune be ever at your back. Thank you very much. Sweet, that just about does it. Done adjusting my TSF. I really had to pick up the pace after spending that time, but man, I'm beat. About to go talk to Yuko now. What? Sumika, what are you doing out here?
タケルちゃんがここにいるのが分かったから会いに来たよ
I saw you were hanging up out here, so I came to visit. So she's able to use her ability to track me down like Kasumi can.
見て見てサンタ
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream here tonight. Tomorrow we're gonna pick up with Operation 21. So pretty exciting stuff. I'm really hyped for it actually. Yeah, and I'm happy Sumika's back too. Back to normal, as we could say. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow, and hopefully we get some action tomorrow. I'm assuming that's probably what's going to happen. I asked for it now, but then after seeing the bloodshed, I'm probably going to be crying to go ahead and just get back to the little cross arc. Thank you guys again. See you back here tomorrow. Have a nice night, everyone.